Hello, friends, and welcome to Troytle Power Presents the Power Playthroughs Project with Troytle Power. I'm your host, Troytle Power, and this is the podcast where we play games in a powerful way. Except for today, it's not today. It is a podcast where we're talking to the creators of a new game, Astalon, Tears of the Earth. I do have some audio recording me playing the game that's going to be at the end of this, so you'll be able to hear a little bit of my live first impressions as we play it. But for now, we're going to chat for a bit with Matt Cap and John LePage, the creators of the game. So, Matt, why don't you say hi so people know which voice is yours?
Hello, this is my voice.
Oh, I like that. And John, how about you?
Hey, how are you doing?
I am doing well. I hope you are both doing well as well. I was going to say this morning, but I guess it's not actually morning for either of you, is it?
It's evening, yeah.
Yeah, time-wise for me, it's early afternoon, but
Okay.
For me specifically, it's morning. I wake up late. I am a vampire.
That's fair. I used to be, and then I had a child, and now I don't know what sleep is. So, yeah. So Astalon it's a really fun game. There is a demo out there, so I hope a lot of people have had a chance even before. This is going to come out, like I told you guys before we started, when the game is out. So if you're hearing this, you can go get the game now. But there's also a demo out there, and I think the demo is available pretty much everywhere on every platform and every region at this point, isn't it?
I don't think so. I think it's Steam and Switch right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure about the other platforms.
I see.
Yeah, I think it's just those two.
See, that's on me for not researching properly. I'm Switch primary. Like, I have an Xbox, I have a PlayStation, I have a PC, but Switch is my home. And so I was like, yeah, there's a demo. Everybody's got it, right? Cool. Well, I think before we get into some kind of questions about you guys and your process for making this game, I'm hoping if you can give kind of an elevator pitch for what the game is from your perspective.
Okay, so it's a retro exploration action game where you switch between three characters and you go through like room by room in a kind of a Metroidvania style. I mean, it's not really groundbreaking, but it does feel very different. I don't know. It's a weird combination of things that aren't the things that I would say that most developers choose first when they start like taking inspiration. Maybe something along the lines of Mega Man and Faxanadu, or Fazanadu. For the pronunciation people.
I don't know that one, but Mega Man was what I came to. Like, when I first looked at it, I had strong Castlevania vibes. Like, I was like, okay, this is going to feel like playing, a Castlevania or Metroidvania game. But the actual moment-to-moment gameplay has a lot more, I think, in common with the Mega Man games than Castlevania. Right,
and I wouldn't even say that was deliberate. It just kind of went in that direction naturally as we worked on it. But yeah, like it doesn't really feel like Mega Man either. Like it feels like I'm happy that it kind of like carved out its own feel as we developed it. Anyway, I'm not really great at elevator pitches.
That's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, I'd say it's a Mega Man-like game with a lot of exploration and a lot more lore to discover. You kind of explore the game and the world as a Metroidvania kind of. Yeah, it's kind of similar in a way, but you're absolutely right. You have this room-by-room action that's more like a kind of a chill, nervous Mega Man vibe thing. I would say it's something like that.
Yeah, it's not a roguelite.
It's not, which so many games are these days. And it's interesting because I think, so part of the hook of the game is that you get upgrades when you die. And when I first saw that, I immediately thought roguelite, but it's not. Like the world is persistent. It's not randomly generated. It's clearly handcrafted. It's just that like your character levels up when you die. And I think that's a cool system that when I first saw it looked like roguelite to me, but the gameplay definitely doesn't feel like that. Can you give me a rundown on kind of what each of your roles in the game are?
So I was the lead artist, designer, and composer of music, and John
Yeah, I'm the lead developer. So basically, I do all the coding, all the technical stuff, and I work to basically come up with gameplay system ideas and make them exist inside the game.
Awesome. So Matt kind of makes the stuff, and you make the stuff actually do something, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He comes up with all those crazy things, and I have to make them work in some way or another.
That's the fun part of it, right? Is here, I've made a thing. Can you make it do something cool now?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially with Matt. He has some very cool ideas. One of them was the death system, and it was really interesting to implement that into the game and make it work as best as we could. Because it's exactly what you would expect from something procedurally generated, and then turning it into something linked to the story, linked to the world, and linked to a static gameplay was really, really interesting.
Yeah, I like the way that the story does hook around there. You actually get a lot of the story as you play through the game through those death scenes and through basically, if you haven't looked at this game yet, there's 3 characters, and one of them is like very aware of what's happening with the characters dying and coming back, and the others, as far as I've gotten into it yet, which is not terribly far, are like becoming aware of what's happening, and that's kind of where the story is unfolding, is through those deaths, which I have suffered a lot of. I don't know if I'm bad at this game or if this game is difficult, but I've died a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the flow of the game. To die is not that important in Astalon. That's what's cool. I usually die a lot too, but since it has this kind of chill, I always describe Astalon as something chill to do. Like you have to have the reflexes and you have to dodge stuff and kill enemies, but you can do it at your own pace, and that was really an emphasis for us. And actually, dying. That's what's interesting with Matt's idea of death in that game. Dying is part of the game and empowers you to keep going. So yeah, you can die a lot, and it's not important. We don't even track how many times you die. That's how much non-important dying is. The more important stuff is getting better, improving your characters, and learning more about the world.
Yeah, and exploring like every little nook and cranny and corner of the tower. Yeah, part of the excuse me. Part of what we wanted to do with this game was to allow players to play like play as they want. So like with the inclusion of like 3 characters, as well as like different ways to upgrade and like advance. Yeah, like some players will use the death mechanic and save up orbs and upgrade their characters like that. Other players are going to use try to improve their skills and get further and further. Other players are going to look for items to strengthen their characters. So it's kind of cool. Like players can play however they'd like, or like and still be able to like get further and further in the game.
I ran into that in my playthrough so far. I'm just past the first boss, which, like I said, not terribly far into it, and it's taken me like 3 hours of gameplay to get there, which I think is probably more than it's supposed to. But part of that, I think, is that when I got to that first boss, I was like, all right, it's boss time, let's go. And I just kept going straight to the boss. I had figured out through a couple other things, like a shortcut to get to the boss almost immediately when I died. And I just kept fighting him over and over again, and like kept almost beating him. And then eventually I was like, this game it's basically got an RPG system running on the back end with the way that I can upgrade my character. So right, I decided to do a little grinding. I just, kept running the path through the castle to collect orbs. And in doing so, I found the bestiary and got about 400 orbs for just messing with that for a little bit. I found a room with some glowy red faces in the wall, got a couple, or I think I got an item from that, and then found 2 different holes in the wall that were just like little hidden rooms that were full of orbs. And so I went thinking I was going to have to grind for a while to collect orbs. And instead, in like 2 runs through, I was suddenly super rich and could really upgrade my character. And then the boss was no problem. Well, it was still
exactly, yeah. Yeah, you know, there's some fun to be had when you break a game. So like, I mean, like not with bugs and stuff, but if you can like exploit a game system to get more powerful, it's a fun thing to do, you know. So I think with Astalon, we set it up in a way that if players can discover these ways to get stronger and get overpowered, they'll be pretty happy about that. Like it's really fun.
I think that mindset fits especially well with retro games. I've been playing this as well as a couple more computer games that are kind of like early 90s computer games lately.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I'm playing something that feels like it's from that era, finding a way to break the game a little bit feels like right. Because I remember playing like Castlevania games where you figure out, oh, if I stand in this one corner of the boss room, he can't hit me at all. And that like
exactly.
That was schoolyard stuff. You know, you would tell your friends you found a way to beat a boss in Mega Man or something like that. And so finding things like that in this feels really good. Like I wanted to go tell people when I found this hidden room, like there's just this room that'll give you like 400 orbs for nothing, but I can't tell anybody yet. But
exactly. You have to be the first one to beat the game, and then you can tell them.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, it's taken me about 3 hours to beat the first boss. So I'm definitely gonna, because it's fun. And I think I'm like a quarter of the way through based on what I can see of the map so far. Maybe. I don't know. I do want to talk about the map and the exploration and stuff though, because that's where this breaks from the Metroidvania side of things a little bit, is that looking at the map screen, you would think this was a Metroidvania game, except that at least as far as I've gotten so far, you're not getting abilities that let you access new areas. So occasionally for me playing a Metroidvania game, it can be kind of frustrating where I'm like, okay, I found a spot where I know there's a cool thing, but because I don't have a double jump yet, I can't get there. And I haven't come across anything like that in your game yet. The closest, I guess, is coming across a locked door, but then I'm just like, cool, now I'm on the hunt for a key. So I think that the exploration actually works really well in it for me, maybe even more than a lot of Castlevania or Metroidvania type games I've played.
Cool.
I dig it. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about your background. So the first thing I'm curious about is kind of how you two came together on this project. I think it's really interesting with smaller games like this, how the team and then the publisher comes together. So I'm curious what the history was there.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll start.
Okay, go ahead.
So when I started this game, actually it went through like 3 different prototypes, and at that point I was working by myself on it, and it was supposed to be like a side project. I really wanted to like make Astalon as I was working on Castle in the Darkness 2, which is in development currently, but I don't know, like I couldn't find like the right like feel for the game or the right like art style. It kind of looked like it was like a half-baked idea. But then at one point, I kind of came up with like the look that you see in the game now, and I posted a trailer online, and that's when I unveiled Labsworks, which is like the game dev team that that's working right now on Astalon and Castle in the Darkness 2, and I got an email from a certain John LePage, and I'll pass it on to you now, John. You can take it from there.
Man, it was so long ago. Yeah, so basically I was on my own too for years. So I'd done some games, some software for other companies. And me personally, I was at that point where I'm fine doing stuff on my own, but having no one to discuss ideas, to brainstorm, to come up with new exciting ways to do things was a bit frustrating. So I was on the hunt to get together with other people on interest projects. I was at that point in my quote-unquote career. So, and then like, I think it was January 1st, 2018, I was following Matt because he had done this very cool game called Castle in the Darkness that was really in my my style of games I play and games I enjoy. really nervous, really quick. You had to really, it was a game I really enjoyed. And I was following him on Twitter, and then someday mentioned kind of looking for other people to band together, basically. And I figured, the first thing I asked myself was, why isn't Castle in the Darkness on all platforms? It's a really cool game. It's published by a big company. It's an indie stuff, and it could really blow up. So I kind of messaged Matt because he had posted Astalon, like small samples of sprites and stuff, and I really dig his art style because I think Matt has this pixel art art style, but really personal, really kind of old school, but with a new way of including anime style characters, for example, or kind of horror elements here and there, creepy stuff, and it was really interesting. And I figured, why not? He seems nice. I don't know what's the team status right now, but let's send him a message and see where things are. And I told him, if you're looking for someone, I'm available. I do that kind of stuff, and I have that experience. And I really, really like to meet new people and work on interesting projects with smart people that can make cool games. That was all my main things I wanted to do. And we went back and forth a bit. And at one point, for fun, I wondered how fast could I do Castle in the Dark, like the same gameplay prototype. How fast? It was a personal experiment. And I said, okay, here's a prototype I've done in a week. I think it's really cool. Let me know what you think. And I feel like it had a really good impact on him because
yes,
in the following days we talked more. We talked about Astalon specifically, and we started bonding and sharing experience. And it all started there in March, I guess between January and March 2018. And we've been together since then. We've not let go of each other. We work together really well. It's been a really intense, really longer than expected experience, but it's really cool to be able to find a partner that you can like improve with and do cool stuff with.
I dig that. Yeah, I really like collaborating. I kind of live online and have a lot of people online that I collaborate with, and just like you said, having somebody just kind of bounce ideas off of and stuff, I think is such an important thing. So that's awesome. And so if I heard you correctly, you broke up just a little bit there, but I think basically what you were saying is that your like application was that you kind of made a spin-off of Castle in the Darkness on your own, and that was kind of how you applied to work with Matt.
Yeah, basically, yeah. We exchanged a few emails, and then at some point I told him, look at that. Let me know what you think. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And I really tried to replicate the feel that he had, because I know that for Matt, even at that time, I knew that what was important for him was the controls and the feel of the character, and being able to do what you want in the game, and not the thing not being clunky and not being stuck everywhere. And I really tried it. I surprised myself because I did it really quickly, and at first, yes, it was a pleasant surprise for Matt too.
Yeah,
totally. I mean, that was it basically.
Anyway, I just want to say that like it was almost 1-to-1 with Castle in Darkness. Like John nailed it. He didn't he didn't port the whole game in a week, obviously, but it was the first section. But yeah, at that point, I was
up
like,
to the first boss. Yeah, I remember. Oh man.
And, that's such a good way to be like, look, I can do this. I promise. Look, I did it. Here's the thing.
and it wasn't like, okay, see, I can do the same thing as you do. You're useless. It wasn't like that. It was really, I enjoy your game. I really think it's a great small system, and it was really fun to do, and I'd like to do more, basically.
Mm-hmm. And then when he sent me that, I remember like my first questions were like, wow, like you like nailed this, but how hard is it for you to add stuff that was missing in the original game, like a map system, you know, proper inventory and all that? And then John was just like, yeah, no problem. And then I thought, okay, well, you know, I'm kind of just like sick of working on Castle of Darkness, because you know that was in the past, and I had this new thing going, and I said, well, why don't we just like take what you did here and run with it, and we'll make Astalon together. And then that's what ended up happening. John solved like every technical issue that I threw his way, and
he kept
great.
sending me stuff too, like, can you do this and can you do that, and I knew that he was expecting those things to happen, and I knew that if they didn't, then maybe it would go another way. So I tried to do my best, and basically, yeah, we understood that we worked well together.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Let me dig a little bit into further into your backgrounds. I assume you both grew up playing video games based on how faithfully this feels like an old school NES game, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
So my curiosity, I'm not really a console war person. Like I told you, the Switch is like my home system, but I don't have any animosity towards other systems. But back in the 90s, we did. I was a Nintendo household. And so I'm curious, were you guys Nintendo or Sega, or did you not really care about that?
100% Nintendo for me. Yeah, like, you know, I'm sorry to say that when I was a kid, I kind of hated Sega.
Yep, me too.
but only because like the kids at school that had Sega systems were... I don't want to swear on your show, but
you can swear.
Jerks.
It's fine.
They were assholes. There were some assholes that I grew up with.
It was always the Sega kids that started it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm so sorry for you guys. I did have a Sega.
Oh,
I had a Mega Drive, but actually I really enjoyed. As soon as I could play games, and everything. So I actually had an NES. Super NES and Mega Drive, like Sega Genesis. But in Europe, maybe it was a bit different. I don't know how those companies came into the market, but
right.
We kind of had both, and I really enjoyed every system. Like I even the portable console, like the Game Boy and the Neo Geo, we used to call it. Everything, like I played everything. I wanted to try everything because there were great games on all platforms, and I still do. The only one I've never been on is the Xbox, because I feel like PlayStation and Xbox really overlap.
They do.
Plus, nowadays Xbox is really just Xbox Game Pass, and if you have that on your PC, you don't really need the console. So I never went the Xbox way, but I always went all the way, and I managed to go to friends that had the N64 if I didn't, and we were bringing the GameCube at my place to play all weekend and stuff like that. So I really tried to play everything. I think basically they are all interesting.
Yeah, and well, you know, I can say now, I don't hate Sega. You know, despite how my story began,
we've all grown, right?
Yeah, no kidding. And basically, like at some point you realize, especially as like a game developer, that there's so many cool games on all retro platforms, and then discovering that like this like undiscovered like pile of like cool inspiration existed at some point. It's like really cool to look back on. So I'm looking back at like Sega now, Neo Geo especially. That's like kind of how I wish Nintendo went after Super NES. It would have been awesome if they made like a CD based, like mostly 2D sprite based console.
Yeah.
But yeah, like N64, I actually wasn't that big of a fan of. I did get a Dreamcast.
Yeah, the 3D Switch was something.
Yeah, it was jarring
yeah.
for someone that you know, who made a like a life out of pixel art at this point, you know. But yeah, like I went the PlayStation route at some point, and same thing with Xbox. I probably would get an Xbox, but there's a lot of overlap, just as John said.
Plus, we're a fan of Final Fantasy, so it's kind of PlayStation all the way.
Yeah,
just the way it is.
I am becoming a fan of Final Fantasy. I've played through 6, 7, and 8 in the past 2 years, and I have an Xbox Series X, and I don't have a PlayStation 5, and that might be what pulls me back over.
Yeah.
How about these days? Branching not necessarily just branching outside of just video games. One of the things we talk about on the Geek to Geek Media Network is we talk about our weekly geekery, which is just whatever thing you've been geeking out about lately. And I know obviously you are both pretty busy with the game right now, but do you have anything else you've been geeking out on in the past week? Matt, why don't you go first here? I'll actually try and host this instead of having to talk over each other.
Sure. Well, here, let me think. I'm a workaholic, so I don't even play games that much anymore. Like it's more like I'll try something, and I'll just like get back to like making something. I bought Nier Replicant, the new one for PS4, the remaster, whatever it is, and I haven't really had much of a chance to play it, but I'm really looking forward to getting Astalon out of the way and diving like headfirst into that. What else?
Anything you've been watching or reading or cooking or anything like that?
No, not really. It's like eggs every day almost. What have I been watching?
Matt is really working hard right now.
Yeah.
We kind of switched. For 3 years, I was head first into the game and couldn't get out. And I missed on so many games and stuff. And then the weird thing happened a couple weeks ago when my work suddenly became really quiet, hoping, fingers crossed, that nothing was breaking or game breaking anymore in the game. And my schedule freed up to play games and stuff, and Matt's schedule became really clogged with music for the game, with artwork for the game, with interviews, with Twitter stuff and stuff like that. So I do understand where he's coming from when he says he does all about the game.
But it's manageable. I mean, I'm not like going nuts here. There's no like I don't feel like I'm in like super crunch time that like people on the internet like condemn. You know, it just seems like there's a lot to do, and I'm just like knocking off one thing at a time, and then more stuff gets added to the list every day. So
yeah, I think that there's a difference between crunch like we hear about with AAA developers and crunch when you're kind of doing your own thing. So it's self-imposed crunch at that point. It's slightly better.
We've never done crunch. Basically, we've worked on the game intensely, and sometimes a couple hours here and there during the week. But like the game took 3 years, also because we're reasonable people, and I have a family too. I have a kid, and I have to take care of him. And crunch for me isn't an option. We're not a AAA studio. We don't have that kind of pressure, because crunch comes from pressure, from rentability, from you have to make money out of your game. It's not that we don't want to make money out of the game. It's part of the deal, basically. But if we really wanted to get it out of the way and only get the money out our way, we would have crunched and finished it in maybe a year. But for us, at least for me, but I think Matt feels the same way. It wasn't an option.
That's good. I'm glad that you all have kept yourselves healthy rather than pushing yourselves.
I think it's really important. Important, especially nowadays. And I'm really glad to see more and more people, for one, starting to come out about crunch in bigger studios, and secondly, even smaller teams claiming that they don't want to do crunch, and that crunch is actually bad for us all, for everyone, for our society. So I'm really glad we didn't. But it's not our style.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been working on other games as well, so for
Sure.
me, it's yeah. Maybe I'm in perpetual crunch mode, and at this point, I'm just like cool with it. So but yeah, I'm fine, health wise. Like I'm not going nuts. I hope. Yeah.
That's like, it's okay. I'm not doing the like blink twice because somebody's making me say this or anything. How about you, John? What have you been into for weekly geekery then with your suddenly found free time?
Okay, I'm gonna go with something not video game related.
Okay.
I'm a really big fan of board games. I
Okay.
think there's a whole new wave of awesome board games that came out in the recent years thanks to Kickstarter that enables the audience to really say, yeah, we like those games, to make more. And it's really different from Monopoly and from the old games we used to play when we were kids. Nowadays, you have JRPGs and greedy figurines and campaigns, and it's really, really interesting. There's everything for all kind of taste. And I've been playing. I've received a really cool Kickstarter, which is called Midara.
Okay.
It's a really cool game. It's actually a JRPG as a board game where you have 4 characters. You play with them. You fight monsters on a huge map. You go through the world. You build their character. And there's this huge story. Like the book of the campaign of the game is really huge. I had never seen that before. The figurines are really, really cool. It's made by Succubus Publishing, I think, if I remember correctly. And it's really, really cool. I've been playing it with my 5-year-old, and he enjoys that a lot.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's actually as if I had a Final Fantasy game inside the board game that I can like take out and play, and it's really, really.
Is it a game that's like an ongoing game? Like each time you play, you're continuing the story of what you did before?
Exactly.
Awesome. That sounds super cool. I'll have to, if you can message me like a link to that or something, I'll be sure to include it in the notes, because that sounds right up the alley of some of my my co-contributors here at Geek to Geek. Probably not for me quite yet, because 18 months is probably a little young to try and start the kiddo on that, but he'll get there eventually. He plays Banjo-Kazooie. That's the one video game he plays, because he's figured out where the jump button is, so he'll just take the controller and hit the jump button over and over again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to get into here with you. So the last thing I wanted to check in is I wanted to circle back to the game and have you, I guess, Matt, this is probably more your side of things, but I'm curious about the 3-character system and where that idea kind of originated, or rather, how far into the process that originated.
Okay, so that originated during the second prototype.
Okay.
I always think it's cool when a game, like especially like a Metroidvania style game, gives you the option of using different characters or using different characters on like subsequent playthroughs. Like Castlevania does that a lot. So you beat the game as Alucard, then you unlock the Richter mode, and then it's like playing the game again as a different character. But I kind of thought that like if the game's big enough, it'd be weird to just include like characters, like make the player play through the game over and over again. And it just like I thought it would be cool to just be able to switch. And then so when I was working on the second prototype, which was really weird looking, it was all kind of 16 by 16 sprites on like a very like zoomed out grid, and it was more like more puzzly, I guess. That's where I thought of having 3 characters. And at that point, you weren't actually able to switch. You just picked one, and then it was like divided into levels. And then, I guess to answer the question like simply, it was just a leftover concept from that prototype, but it worked really well. And then you were able to like design kind of like areas like stuff that you couldn't pass that was in like your field of view that you had to switch characters and like teach the player that you can do that. And it was kind of fun. And like the idea about the campfires and stuff like that, like it all just kind of organically came together. But yeah, it's just cooler to have more characters to use and more variation, I think, than using the same character for 20 hours. Yeah, like for your whole time in a game.
I am liking that system a lot. I started off playing as the fighter. I'm terrible with their names, but I quickly switched to the rogue, and that has been just my standard since then.
Okay.
It's really fun to see people enjoy different characters. I think what's really cool about Astalon is that you, as Matt said earlier, you can pick your favorite one, basically, and you have a chance to go from the start to the finish line, basically using that character in all the main moments. There are some spots where you have to switch. It's one of the game's mechanics. But being able to choose your favorite character or play all of them or two of them or any combination was really interesting to implement. And we really made sure that each had its own personality, gameplay-wise, and also inside the story. So you could pick your favorite one to play as. And I don't know, like everyone we've talked with has its own choice between the three characters, and it's really fun because for the past 3 years, Matt and I don't agree about which character is the best and which character is our favorite one. So it's really fun to have that in the game, to have that option and that open.
Yeah, for sure. And then other people that played the game, like there's not like one unanimous character that's better than the others. It's cool to see that like people have different opinions and everyone has their own favorite character that like their go-to. So I think we did that. We handled that in a good way.
We actually worked. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, nothing. I was just going to say that there's not like one character that's designed to be better or more fun than the others. It's just a matter of like preference. And that varies from what we can see. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Having three characters was something that was like right from the beginning when I came up with the project. Matt had this prototype made on another engine, and it already had those three characters and the death process.
Right.
And then we built the whole death deal system where you can upgrade the game, basically upgrade your gameplay when dying. And at one point we figured, I think it was Matt's idea, to push the three characters aspect a tiny bit further and to actually allow players to improve each character individually. And it's a really cool idea. I think it opened up a lot of options to make builds and stuff like that and optimize. And if you preferred one, I know that when I play the first part of the game, I really enjoy doing it with Argus, the mage, the wizard, because it feels way more like a Mega Man character. You have this short burst. It goes through walls and it's really powerful, and it helps out a lot. And then if you're afraid of commitment and like melee combat and being close to enemies, you can go to Yuli and really go range and be safer. And I know players that really enjoy playing that way because they feel more comfortable with it. And that's really interesting. It's true that at the beginning, Arias, the fighter, really more tricky to handle because it's so close to enemies.
Right.
And it's so easy to get hit when you're not careful. So yeah, it was really interesting to have that in the game and to push it further and further and allow players to basically kind of make their own game inside the game and choose what they prefer over something that we would impose, would force on.
My question for you, John, is does having to plan for 3 characters make your job more or less than 3 times as hard?
Actually, it makes Matt's work harder because we have to do all the animations 3 times.
Oh man, yeah, yeah.
Basically, yeah. My job at first was to get the physics right and the controls right. And we had a choice, a game design choice made really early on. That was to have. We debated a bit, but we chose to have all 3 characters have the same physics.
Right.
They have the same size. They have the same speed. So what I needed to do was to have one character that could be displayed as several different personalities with different weapons. So my job wasn't 3 times as difficult to do, but we definitely had to plan that ahead to be able to have a modular weapon system, to be able to plug in different weapons and stuff for each character. And then visually for me, it's just a string change. I say display Arias instead of displaying Algos, and it's really easy. The hardest part was for Matt to design all those characters, and I kept asking him to make more emotion animations for cutscenes and stuff. So for me, it was really fun.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. No, like coming from Castle in the Darkness, where the main character had like I think 12 frames of animation for the whole game, and then here having like multiple characters with like 100 each. I was working on like character animations pretty much until like a couple months ago. There was a lot of work, but I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. Like it's the animation is like pretty fluid and really like emotive for like an 8-bit kind of game. So I think we made the right call with that. It was a lot of work though.
I think you did too. I think that this game succeeds really well because it looks and feels how I remember 8-bit games playing, not necessarily how they actually feel if you go back and play them, which I think is a real success really for a retro game.
Yeah, I would agree. That's really interesting because I've played old games recently, and some of them do not hold up very well. And someone said something about Astalon. It was an NES game, as if the NES was still around. Maybe NES games could have evolved to become like that, like Shovel Knight, for example, which is also a great example of doing an NES game right, and hopefully will be as good as Shovel Knight is. But yeah, I think visually Matt pushed beyond the limits of the NES, which is really cool because I like limitations, but we felt early on that Matt needed to have some kind of freedom and not follow every rule of the NES or the game wouldn't exist. But we really tried to have a modern gameplay, modern feel to the game, to be able to exactly, as you said, play a game as if it was an old nostalgia game, but with the satisfaction and the pleasure of today's game.
Awesome. I think that's a good place for us to wrap up here. So again, the game is called Astalon Tears of the Earth. It's, as of this posting, it'll be out on Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, and even Mac, I think I saw somewhere. Is that right?
Yes, and Linux.
And Linux as well.
Yeah.
Well, outstanding. Thank you both for spending some time with me here. I really appreciate it. It was really nice to get to know the two of you and a little bit more behind the game. So I appreciate you coming by. Is Twitter the best place for people to keep up with you if they want to see future developments from LabsWorks?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And it's Castle in the Darkness 2 is still in process, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
With Astalon gonna wrapping up now, we're gonna start showing more of that. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about everything we're doing so far, and there's more surprises in the future. So yeah, Twitter, please follow us.
I'll put links down below, but I think Matt, you're just Matt Cap, right, on Twitter?
That's right. No, okay. Matt Cap 1.
Matt Cap 1. Okay. And John, how about you?
Someone beat me to it.
My Twitter handle is John LePage Games. Trade up. And you can follow us at LabsWorks. It's where all the labs information.
Outstanding. I'll have links to all those in the show notes here. And again, thank you both for being here today. Any last thoughts to share with anybody before we go?
Well, thank you for having us.
Yes, thanks, Troy. It was a pleasure. This was a good way to start the day.
It was. And, I have to go back and do other work now that's a lot less interesting than this. So, all right then. Well, thank you all for joining me, and thanks for listening. And until next time, friends, tap A and hope for the best.
Hey, bye.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Troytle Power Presents Power Playthroughs Project with Troytle Power. I'm your host, Troytle Power. This is the podcast where we play games in a powerful way. And we are today going to be checking out a little bit of Astalon, Tears of the Earth. Which, there we go. No, my controller connected. It's fine. We're good. Astalon, Tears of the Earth is from Dangan Entertainment. Jeez, I couldn't think of it. Dangan Entertainment, the same publishers that made Smelter, which has been one of my favorite games of the year so far. So I'm really excited about this one. And it's basically, I mean, it looks kind of Castlevania-ish from what I've seen. Very cute retro pixel art, which is always, I almost said a turn on for me, but it's not a turn on. That's overselling it a little bit. I just like old pixel art. Okay, it's not anything weird about it. Right now we're just looking at a little dude in the corner who's thinking of a bunch of items. I assume that's just our loading screen there. And here we go. Pixel anti-aliasing. Anti-aliasing, how the game is meant to be played. Softer pixels emulating an older television. Or you can go with no anti-aliasing. You can have anti-aliasing, soft anti-aliasing, or clean. We'll go the way it's meant to be played, which everything looks a little blurry, but that's how it's supposed to be. We're looking at a planet, year 21XX. A terrible disaster had befallen the planet. Because of a thirst for power, the world's kingdoms fought until nothing was left but dust. There's explosions happening on all the planet and went from blue to red. Very few survived the catastrophe, now living in radioactive deserts and eating scraps to survive. The planet was dead. However, decades later, the ruins of the old world started to reappear. Like serpents, these ruins slithered out something, missed what it said there. Now, 3 explorers investigate the cause of tainted water in hopes to save the people of their village. The search leads them to a dark tower upstream that seems to be seeping poison into the water. This is their story. Astalon, Episode 2, Tears of the Earth. If there was an Astalon Episode 1, I haven't played it. Oh no. Let's look it up real quick. Wow, this title screen is great. It shows the 3 adventurers in the foreground, all facing forward up these stairs into the castle. Hang on, let's Google real quick. Astalon. I intentionally didn't look up much about this because it just looked awesome to begin with, but everything I'm finding is about Astalon, Tears of the Earth. I mean, I don't know. It said episode 2, but it looks like, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to press a new button. We can go to play secrets or options. Secrets just has 4, 8, plus 5, 13 orbs that are glistening, and I'll say question marks when I highlight them. Then under options, game, I can choose language or delete all data. We've got controls, B for jump, A for attack, Y for power, and X for option. Under audio, there's volume levels. Under video, we've got the anti-aliasing options. And then under accessibility, we can turn off screen flash, screen shake. We can turn auto attack to either hold or off. I'm gonna leave that on hold. Aim help on, dash double tap is off, vibration is on. Good options there. Let's go ahead and start a new game. And we are into the thing. And the loading this time is a little Blue Knight character running away from like a big hippo-mouthed ghost, if you can imagine such a thing. Like a ghost but with the mouth of a hippopotamus. Alright, there's our 3 adventurers. We traveled through hell to get here, but we finally made it. There's a yellow wizard, it looks like, a blue knight, and a red rogue. This cold tower, I can feel its evil energy in my soul, stabbing like shards of glass. We are tired, injured, and hungry, but we must continue forward.
The lives of the people back home depend on us. But I have no one. Just a promise to a dead man and the ultimate dead. Algus says, "At last, we made it." This is our sorcerer guy. Apparently that's what they're going to sound like. I don't know if they're a guy or girl, actually. "Just one small thing to do first." And here's Kailu, who says, "Hey, Algus, what do you see in there?" She's our rogue. And he says, "Nothing. Don't come in yet. It's full of bugs and stuff." Algus says, "They can't know yet. It's too soon." "Here we go. This room will have to do." And they whip their staff into the air and cast some sort of spell that makes a sigil float. And there's energy crackling, and the room lights up. And Algus says, "Arr!" And in comes running Kilu, who says, "Algus, are you okay?" "I'm fine. We just need to push forward." And then Algus whispers, "Epimetheus, remember our pact." And then Night comes in, whose name is Arius, and she says, "This tower. We've only been here for mere seconds, but I already feel uneasy." "I feel it too. But it looks like the poison is coming from here. If we can stop it, we can prevent the people in our village from getting sick." "I want that too, of course, but this tower seems different than the other ruins. I can't put my finger on it, but it almost emanates strong, evil energy." "I'm not worried, Kailu. My father was the famous crystal swordsman, remember? And as his only son, I can use this opportunity to become the hero that I was meant to be." Definitely thought that was a female character. Oops. They're holding their sword in the air, and then a bead of sweat comes down their face because they're a little embarrassed, and Kailu says, ... and Algus says, ... and Arya says, "Also, Algus was Dad's assistant, right, Al?" And Al looks shocked and says, "Assistant? You're kidding me." "Enough. Let's look for some light. We likely won't get far blundering through this darkness." "Don't fall too far behind, Arius." And they all set off, and Arya says, "He treats me like a kid, but he's not my father." "What was that?" Nothing. Coming." Alright, and now we're in control of Arius, and we can jump, a little bit of a floaty jump. You can change direction midair. I can swing my sword. Looks like I don't have a power attack yet, so I can't do anything with that. Up in the top left, I can see my health, which is 30 HP. This is side-scrolling action here so far. We're climbing down a ladder, and there's a locked door that requires a blue key. And something we can expect that says press B to jump, but if you press and hold, you'll jump even higher. Alright. Very NES look to things so far. Up in the top left, there's also some sort of indicator that says 0. I don't know what that's about. And then in the top right, there's key counters for white, blue, and red keys, which are all at 0. If you cannot accomplish something, this hint said, always turn to your friends for help. Each person has varying traits and skills. Anything is possible with teamwork. And so there's a fireplace here, a campfire here with my other two characters sitting around, and I can press X up to save, which I did, and I unlocked one of those secrets that says statistics. Look at various statistics of your playtime in Astalon, which I can open from the main menu. I can't open it right now. But then I can also press X to switch character, and it switches to Al, and that switches to Kiari. I don't remember their names. I'm just making up names. I'm going to play as the Blue Knight for now, and we're going to go to the left on this screen and see what's up. Let's see. Inspect this sign. Those blue veins look like they would resist projectiles. A slashing weapon might help cut a way through them. There we go. Yeah, I can slash those vines up. Let's break a jar. Nothing exciting there. Hang on a second. All right, we're back, friends. Sorry about that. Had family issues to take care of. Cutting through some vines here as we were before, jumping over a big old spike pit and stepping on a big orange button. And then we see the campfire where our friends are, and there's like a rock slide? Oh. Okay. So friends, in order to tell you what just happened, I have to tell you a little detail that I didn't mention before, I don't think. When we first entered the castle, in the background of the castle, there was what appeared to be statues of minotaurs that were probably 4 times as tall as my character. Give me just a moment. I'm about to sneeze. Nope, I defeated the sneeze. Anyway, there are statues that were 4, 5, 6, somewhere around that times as tall as my characters. When I pressed that button, a glowing eye appeared behind the campfire where my friends are, and there's a Minotaur back there who is many times as tall, many times as tall as my character. So that's a little worrisome. So from where we're at, we can go down a ladder and we can go to the right side of the screen. I assume each of these is going to require a different character, but I'm just going to go down as my character. Okay. So I'm the night guy still, and I went down, and what I can see immediately is that this room has a couple of obstacles that are big, like, demon stone statue faces in the wall, but they're colored orange. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to switch to my orange character, the mage-like character, who can jump and can do ranged attacks with their staff. I'm going to drop down and inspect the sign. There's something strange about those black orbs. Maybe they can be struck through the wall with magic. Ah, so the demon things, the demon statue things were holding orbs in their mouth, and when I shoot them with magic, they get all glowy and raise some walls, and I can go through and push a button. And then back to that campfire scene, and another eye appeared, this one above the other, so this is a three-eyed Minotaur, it looks like. Climb up a ladder here, and we'll switch to my roguish character who can jump and, whoa, shoot a bow very powerfully. Only left and right though, no angled shots, no shooting your bow up. Let's check the sign. That jump looks quite high. A lighter person might be able to jump off of the wall to reach greater heights. Oh, cool. So she can do a little wall kick. Cool. Her bow takes a second to like charge up. All right, press on the last button, and more earthquaking, and a third eye appears on the creepy Minotaur. Ooh, and then a like block with a lion face appeared next to the campfire, and that's underneath where a broken ladder was. So now I can climb up that broken ladder. I'll head up here. There's occasionally these glowing, small glowing blocks. Oh, I can destroy them. Oh, they're just a bunch of money or whatever. Whoa, tons of money. So below my health, remember I said there was a counter that I didn't know what it was. That's I'm calling it a money counter right now. I don't know if it's actually money, but that's what the glowing blocks are. It's just when you hit them enough times, they explode out into a bunch of glowy blue goodness. All right, climbed up into another room, and the background's now lighting up, and there's a red-eyed face in front of an archway that has crawling people that are half lobster inside of it, and then a big elevator cage thing appeared, like a bird cage hanging in the background. But I can't seem to interact with it quite yet. Okay. But also opened up a new section of the screen I can go to, so I'm doing that here. Just killed like a horned beetle enemy. There's the locked door, it requires a white key. Here's a snake that has a skull for a face. Just shoot him a few times real quick. Okay. Can't go past that wall, so we'll go back the other direction. Ooh, there's a white key. There's also a button, but the button I can't get to yet. I can clearly see that there's going to be two blocks that become a platform between me and that button, but they're definitely like built into the background right now. So I think what I've got to do, I use that white key, go into the room that was available to it, where there was a button, and stepped on it. Oh, and it made the pillar that I couldn't get past earlier next to that snake skull disappear. So now I can go that direction. And eventually I think I'm going to find a button that will make those background object blocks become foreground object blocks, and then I'll be able to jump on them. Okay. So, so far, it's more platforming than I think of when I think of like a Castlevania type game. Not in a bad way. It's not a bad thing at all. But, ow, gosh. Okay. Skull Snake hurt me a couple times there. Like right now, Ooh, okay. There's a little challenge I had to do where there's a statue that spits magical orbs, and I had to drop down between its magical orbs spitting out, and then run across the platform and drop off the other side where there's a spike trap that goes on a timer, so you have to make sure you hit the ground without hitting the spike trap. Oh, hey, in the next room there's another campfire. We'll switch characters. Okay, interesting. My health carries over from character to character. Good to know. I'm actually going to keep playing as my archer rogue then. This looks like a boss fight room. Ooh, a purple knight with horns appears. Oh gosh, friends, I'm going to be honest. It was actually yesterday that I recorded the first part of this episode. I don't remember what my voices for the characters were. Anyway, this is Arius, the Blue Knight, says, Kailu, are you alright? She stands back up. And then Arius says, hey, what's your problem? And Olga says, this is no place for mortals. What is your business here? And the Black Knight says, at last. At last, the culmination of all my efforts is at hand. What is he talking about? Listen, we're only here to save our village. We don't want any trouble. The water's poisoned. People are getting very sick. Can you help us? And an energy appears around the Black Knight, and he says, you and your people, you deserve this fate. Do you see, my lords? They've sent champions. Our people are dying. What is so damn funny about that? The echo responds to the call. You are all scum. And then August says, who are you? No matter. This will be over soon. It was time for me to take control and rid this planet from the scourge of mankind. So it was you. You did this to the water? To the people of our village? And there's purple energy flying up the screen now. Yes, it was I. How could you? Even children were poisoned. And the Black Knight floats into the air, his sword still stuck into the ground, but he's floating into the air, surrounded by a sphere of purple energy. And then his sword shakes, and flies up into his hand. A small price to restore purity, to restore balance. He's gone mad. Ooh, that was a new voice for Algus, but I like it. Mad? No, my mind is clear. And then it showed his face like up close for just a second, and now it's back to this view. And August has run forward and put his staff up into the air. And he says, "Stay back! This man lives in the tower with the Gorgons. He's dangerous. My lords, do you hear? Take the souls of these fools as tribute. All right, you're our target now. We'll stop you at any cost." And he slowly floats back down to the ground. You cannot change the course of destiny. Accept your fate. You accept yours. Good comeback. And the Blue Knight runs forward, but then the Black Knight reaches his hand up and a glowing red shaft of light appears and picks up Arius into the sky and he disintegrates. Whoa. Arius, no! And she runs forward and the Black Knight grabs her out of the air and he says, such courage, and yet so weak. And Alex says, let her go, as he prepares a rune. Oh my god. The Black Knight just stabbed her through with his big sword. And now he's picking up Algus from a distance, using the force or whatever, and shooting him with lightning. And he goes to the ground, and he's kneeling, and he says, no, they were children. What have I done? Prometheus, what of our pact? And he slumps over, dead, and the Black Knight laughs as the screen fades to black. The end, I guess. White text on a black screen. Is this what it feels like to die? And then a rune appears, and then a sphere appears, and another sphere with a skeleton inside of it, and then the skeleton becomes musculature, and then it becomes my wizard man. Holy smokes. And there's a big old creepy demon monster with red sinew and stuff all over him.
He's like a mountain of muscles and body parts. And our wizard is standing in front of him who says, Epimetheus, have I died? And Epimetheus says, indeed, you and your comrades have perished in the Tower of Serpents. No, I failed. Get up. I shall send you back. Or have you forgotten our pact? I help you fulfill a promise, and you bestow upon me your soul. A foolish barter, I must say. But my power is not yours to exploit. I grow ever impatient with you, Algus. Once you and your friends succeed in the Tower of Serpents, I will collect your soul. I don't care about my fate. Take me back. Very well. Is there anything else? And it says new deals are available. Okay. Okay, so... Wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff in this menu. The things that are available to me, because a bunch of stuff is grayed out, are the 3 characters, Algus, Arius, and Kailu. And then it says health up is 40. Inner Fire 1 is 60. Oh, and I see I've got 92 currency to spend. So that those blue orbs have been collecting our currency, and you come and spend them here when you die. I'm gonna ask about Algus. So I can raise the strength of the character, the defense, the attack speed. The Arcanist gains magic experience, plus 30% missile size. Or the Shock Field, a successful hit leaves a small field damaging enemies for a short time. And Meteor Rain, summon the power of Cosmos, which costs HP to use. Cool. So each of them has 3 special abilities that I can get along with defense, strength, and attack speed. And then I'm gonna buy health up 1, because it's only 40. And that'll apply to everybody, I think. Max HP plus 1. Cool. And then there's health up 2 is 50. And I can't afford anything else, so we'll buy that as well. Alright. This is cool. Alright. Back out of there, and we come back to life at the front of the castle, the tower, in the room that had those Minotaur statues. At last, we made it? It's just Algus. I'm back. Alive? Wait, where are they? He looks around, and then Kailu says, Hey Algus, what do you see in there? Kailu, I'm so happy to hear your voice. Is Arius with you? What? Of course I'm here. You saw me 2 seconds ago. Yes, you're right. What's going on? Nothing, come here, it's safe. And Kailu comes running in, and there's Arius running in, and she says, Wait, I feel strange. And then Arius says, Have we been here before? And Algus says, ... And then whispers and says, There's no need to burden them with my past. I'm living on borrowed time, after all. Hey, Algus, is something wrong? You're acting weird. No, it's nothing. We should hurry forward. The sooner we finish here, the sooner we can go home. And they go running off to the right, into the tower. Hurry, we don't want to fall behind. Cool. That's a pretty neat system. And so the things we did before are still here. The elevator thing that we started to unlock is still visible. We can still go into the next screen. Let's see if the buttons are still pressed. The buttons are still pressed. So everything you've done within the world of the game, or within the world of the tower, stays. Narratively, your characters just don't remember what's happened. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's a fun hook. It's not a roguelite. It's just... I mean, like it's not a roguelite, because from a gameplay perspective, like, your progress totally saves. But the way that you get character upgrades in this game is that when you die, you're given the opportunity to buy upgrades, and then narratively what happens is you start the run over. So it is, I don't know. That's weird. It's like borrowing a roguelite idea in order to and then applying it to a totally non-roguelike gameplay. I'm my archer still, but her attack, it's really kind of slow. I like that she has the wall jump, but it really takes a long time to get an arrow off here. I went past the room where the Black Knight murdered us all. I'm into the next room now. I'm just seeing if I can get to anything. Ooh, there's some of those hippo monsters. Wow. There's a lot going on in this room. Okay, there's a spiky eye monster on the ceiling who tries to shoot at me when I run beneath him. Let's see what the sign said. It is said that the souls of the living can manifest as glowing blue orbs. They're not always possible for everyone to see. So the money I'm collecting is the souls of the living? Okay. There's a bunch of hippo monsters, hippo ghosts in this room. I'm just gonna skip past that. Ooh, there's a scroll up in the sky. Not in the sky, on the second level of this room. That seems worth picking up. Most of these rooms, if not all of them, are single screens. So you're just looking at like one room of obstacles and enemies at a time. And I really like this so far. It's a Linus's map. Press the minus button. There we go. Okay. So this is the tower map, and we have explored 3% of the tower, it looks like so far. It marks where the players, where campfires are, where elevators are, and the area we're in right now is marked in light blue, whereas the areas at the start are marked in dark blue. So I'm guessing that's how it's delineating different like regions of the map. Cool. So a Metroidvania-esque platformer with a Castlevania side of things aesthetic in terms of, like, you know, creepy gothic castle, where you upgrade your characters when you die, and you have 3 characters that you can swap between, each of whom is specialized for different particular tasks in the environment. And that's a little bit of Astalon here. I'm enjoying. Okay, don't die. Got hit by a hippo ghost. I'm enjoying this a lot. Ooh. Okay, gotta jump over. Ow! White energy orbs that are spitting at me. Oh no! I'm down to 6 health. I'm enjoying this a lot so far. This is gonna be a really fun one, I can tell. Like I said, the last game that I got from Dangan Entertainment was Smelter, which is one of my favorites of the year so far. And I mean, obviously this is an early preview of this game, but so far, I can totally see this one being up there. It's a lot of fun. Just playing. Oh, collapsing bridge. You gotta have a collapsing bridge, right? Ah, there's a door that's locked and it requires a red Gorgon eye in order to open. Well, I think I saw that red Gorgon eye earlier, but it was in a room I couldn't get to. Ouch! Down to 1 health. Alright, well, maybe we'll just, yep, we're gonna just die. That'll be the conclusion to our episode, is that we'll die again and go to the upgrade field. Epiphany says, "You have not yet fulfilled your promise. I will send you back. Is there anything else?" And then I get the chance to buy upgrades. But I only have 29 souls right now, which is not enough to buy upgrades. So we end up back at the front of the castle. I just want to see if it does more text on it, or nope, we just start off this time, so. Cool. Well, that's a little bit of, let me just make sure I've got the full game right. Yeah, Astalon, Tears of the Earth. Thank you again to Dangan for providing me a copy of this to check out. I'm very excited to keep playing it here. Yeah, so that's that. And until next time, friends, tape and hope for the best. If you enjoyed my show, it would mean a lot if you would rate and review it on iTunes, share it on social media, or check out my Patreon. You can find all of my stuff at troytlepower.carrd.co.
This has been a presentation
of the We Can Make This Work
Probably Network.
Follow us on Twitter
At Probably Work for more of our questionable content.
Also, we have a website called probablywork.com.